Have you ever woken up in the morning, looked in the mirror, and promised yourself, today is going to be different? Today I am going to break the cycle, only to find yourself at the end of the day sitting on the same couch, overwhelmed by the same exhaustion, having made the same mistakes? It feels as if an invisible hand is constantly pulling you back to that dark starting point. Most people call this fate, some call it bad luck, and others even call it karmic debt. But I have to tell you a harsh truth, which is simultaneously the greatest secret that will set you free. It is not the universe that is holding you back. What is holding you back is your own biology. What if I told you that even as you watch this video right now, those looping thoughts that have been repeating in your mind for years, that inner voice saying, I am not good enough, are not actually your reality? More importantly, we are going to scientifically prove why the affirmations you've tried so far, those generic, think positive pieces of advice, simply do not work. Because the problem is not with your willpower. The problem is that your brain is stuck in survival mode. But do not worry. If your brain is a piece of software, today you're going to learn not just theoretically, but with neurological evidence and actionable steps, how to rewrite that code and how to break that invisible chain. Take a deep breath right now and buckle up, because we're starting to dismantle the you that you know, to build the you that exists in your potential. First, we must understand why change is so incredibly difficult. Your brain, weighing approximately 1.4 kilograms, is the most complex structure known in the universe. However, the primary function of this magnificent machine is not to make you happy, wealthy, or peaceful. Your brain has one main job: to keep you alive. And for your brain, staying alive means swimming in familiar waters. Even if it is painful for you, your brain prefers familiar pain over unknown happiness. Because to our primitive brain, the unknown represents a potential threat. You wake up in the morning. The moment you open your eyes, your brain begins to scan memories from the past. The stress you felt yesterday, the argument you had with your boss last week, the partner you broke up with months ago, or the financial worries that have plagued you for years. These memories are not just images. Each one produces a specific neurochemical cocktail in your brain. When you recall a stressful memory, your brain secretes cortisol and adrenaline as if you're experiencing that stress right now. So, before you even get out of bed, you are biologically living in the past. Your body becomes a servant of your mind. Your thoughts trigger your emotions, and your emotions cause you to reproduce the same thoughts. We call this loop the state of being. If you are 30 years old and have been reacting with the same emotional responses for 20 years, your brain mistakes the state for your personality. You start saying, I am an angry person. I am an unlucky person. I am someone who gives up easily. No, you're not that. You have simply used these neural networks so much that your brain has turned these dirt roads into superhighways. This is where the concept we need to introduce comes in: neuroplasticity. The most exciting fact discovered by the scientific world in the last century. Your brain is not a solid block of marble. Your brain is living clay that can change shape at any moment. Donald Hebb's famous law states, neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you complain, every time you play the victim, every time you procrastinate, you are thickening those failure circuits in your brain. But the opposite is also true. Neurons that do not fire together wire apart. So, it is biologically possible to forget your old self and build a new one. So, how do we do this? This is the point that popular self-help books often miss. It is not enough to just believe. You need to trick and train your brain. Let's look at how to integrate this into our daily lives. Let's look at the application. The first step, metacognition and interruption. On average, 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts pass through our minds in a single day, and 90% of these are the same as the previous day. Change begins the moment you become aware of this autopilot. Let's say you are about to start a task, and that familiar voice rises from within. You won't be able to do this. You'll leave it unfinished again. Stop right there. Physically stop. This voice does not belong to you. This voice is a cassette tape your brain has memorized. In that moment, to interrupt that neural connection, you must say, I hear this, but I do not accept it, and direct your attention elsewhere to the present moment. Every time you do this, you are tearing up the asphalt on that old highway. The second and most critical step, mental rehearsal. Our brains cannot biologically distinguish the difference between an event that is actually experienced and an event that is vividly imagined. A study looked at which areas of a pianist's brain were activated when they played the piano, and then asked the same pianist to only imagine playing the piano. The result was fascinating. Almost the exact same neurons fired in the brain. What does this mean? When you visualize the person you want to be in the future, how that person behaves, how they stay calm in the face of difficulties, how they take decisive steps. Every morning and every night, you begin to install the hardware of that new person in your brain. Even if you haven't achieved that success yet, your brain begins to look biologically as if it has already experienced that success. You prepare your body and brain for the future. Let's give an example. You have social anxiety and are afraid of entering crowded environments. We need to break the social environment equals danger association in your brain. Every day, for just 5 minutes, imagine yourself in that environment as relaxed, confident, smiling, and speaking fluently. But be careful. It is not enough to just see it. You must feel the motion of that confidence in your heart. Because if thought is the language of the brain, emotion is the language of the body. When thought and emotion combine, you create a new state of being. The amygdala, fear center, in your brain shrinks over time, while the prefrontal cortex, decision-making mechanism, strengthens. The third step, conscious discomfort. We said your brain loves its comfort zone. Change begins where the comfort zone ends. If you want a new result in your life, you must do something unknown. This can start with something as simple as changing your morning routine, waking up without reaching for your phone, taking a cold shower, brushing your teeth with your left hand if you are right-handed. These small actions take your brain off autopilot and switch it to wake mode. The brain says, what is happening? We are out of the routine. This moment is when the brain's plasticity, its capacity to learn, is at its highest. However, I must warn you, you will experience withdrawal symptoms during this process. Your body will crave those victimhood chemicals, those anger hormones that has been used for years. A voice inside you will scream, forget it for today, start tomorrow, this nonsense doesn't work. This voice is simply the death rattle of your old self. If you give up at that moment, you return to your old self. But if you can stand within that feeling of discomfort, if you are willing to burn in that fire, you will rise from your ashes. Change is not comfortable. Change is chaotic, like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. The inside of the cocoon is total chaos. The old structure completely melts away, and a new structure is formed. You are in that cocoon right now. Rejoice when you feel discomfort, because this is the most concrete proof that change has begun. Never forget this. Your life is shaped by where you place your attention. Energy follows attention. If you give your energy to the mistakes of the past, to what others say, to economic crises, to what you couldn't do, you feed those neural networks and expand that reality. But if you give your attention to the vision you want to be, to the solution to growth and to the power of the present moment, the reticular activating system, RAS, in your brain kicks in. The RAS is your brain's filter. Whatever you focus on, you begin to see in the world. If you tell yourself, I see opportunities, and believe it, your brain will select and bring before you the people, books, and events in the crowd that will help you. This is not a mystical law of attraction. This is the brain's selective perception mechanism working for you. You are the master of your mind, not its slave. Your genes are not your destiny. The science of epigenetics shows us that genes can also change with environmental factors and thought patterns. You do not have to carry the psychological legacies passed down from your family. Today, right now, the second this video ends, you can make a new decision. This decision should not just be a wish. This decision must be a clear, irreversible declaration of intent. I will no longer be the old me. Trust yourself. The potential within you is far greater than you imagine. Your neurological hardware is ready for this. Your biology supports change. The only thing remaining is your courage to take that first step. And I know that courage exists within you, the one listening to these lines right now. If it didn't, you wouldn't have watched this video this far. You are one of the seekers, and seekers eventually find. Keep walking. The fog will clear, and you will see your own summit. You are not alone on this journey. We are not just watching videos here. We are building a collective consciousness, a family that lifts each other up. If what I have told you has created a spark in your mind, if you want to be one of those who initiate that change, you can contribute to the growth of this family by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Seal this intention to the universe and to yourself by writing, "I am starting the change" in the comments. Let this be the first sentence of your new story. Until the next video, where we will dive even deeper into consciousness, stay safe, and most importantly, stay aware.